What's up? This is the beginning of day 4. Yesterday was like probably the best day that I've had here so far in terms of just like experiencing culture and just having a full day and getting the full experience of Ghana and my first time in Africa. Started off the day at an orphanage. They split us up into 3 groups. One group went to New Horizons School for the Intellectual Impaired, or for children with intellectual disabilities. Another group went to a juvenile correctional facility, and another group went to, my group went to the Osu Children's Home, which is an orphanage for children. Amazing, sad, eye-opening experience. When we first got there, we talked to one of the directors, and she told us, the history of the program, what they do, why they're there, how long they've been there, the demographics of the children that they serve, which range from anywhere from newborn to 27 years old. Excuse me. She gave us a tour of the facilities, which was a bit heart-wrenching, for what they do. They take really good care of the children. The facility, it's a government facility, and it's still lacking considerably as far as the necessities to help children, as far as the facilities in which the children live. Now, don't get me wrong, everything was clean, everything was well kept, but by most people's standards in America, it could definitely have been better. And a lot of that has to do with resources and funding. The first place that she took us to tour was the infant unit, and that was probably the most heart-wrenching. There was about 20 babies in the unit that we went to, and it was kind of, we were walking around and basically looking at these children. It was like they were just in their separate cribs or whatever, and part of it was a little bit like degrading because we're just walking around looking at them, and you don't want to feel pity or you don't want to feel like you're objectifying them, but most of them were asleep because it was after breakfast, and they showed us the area where a lot of the sick infants were, and that suffered from cerebral palsy. And then there was this one particular child with a disease that I forget the name of. It's like sick something. Basically, it's something where fluid builds up in the spine and in the brain, and the head swells. So this was a newborn baby with a head as big as or bigger than mine, and there's nothing that the doctors can do, but they take him to the doctor weekly to treat the sores that have come on his head as a result of his illness. One bright spot in the baby unit was this one little baby. She was full of personality. She was right at the entrance, so we walked around, and she was at the end of the tour. But she was wide awake, full of personality, laughing, big eyes, like she knew exactly what was going on. And it was nice to see that, but it was still heart-wrenching to see the other children. And some of the faculty members that were with us went out and we donated things, and I have that on camera. We donated like bags and bags of stuff at the places that we went, and they went out and bought extra diapers for them because all of the babies were wearing cloth diapers. And it's economically sound, but it's probably not the best hygiene-wise, because you wash it and have to reuse it. The quality of the cloth deteriorates, and then on top of that, they have no washing machine, so they wash everything by hand. So they went out and purchased quite a few diapers for the infant unit. The drawback to disposable diapers is the waste aspect, and they don't have as sophisticated, waste services and that we do, or waste management services that we do in the States. They showed us their junior boys' home, their seniors' boys' home, the girls' home. They took us to where the toddlers stay. Most of the children were out because they were at school. Something that I particularly thought was interesting is that unlike most orphanage and foster care facilities in the States that, you know, just drop the kids off after 18, it's like you're on your own, you know. It's very much a family unit. They take very good care of the children. They make sure they're nurtured, and you know, it's their family. They take care of them as their family. You know, the oldest person that the lady said she had was a 26-year-old woman who didn't really want to go out into society because she had been in the home her whole life. But what they're trying to do with her is train her and give her, you know, teach her a trade and a skill, so that way she can maybe go out and possibly adopt or take care of one of the other children. The highlight of our visit was going to the toddler. They weren't really toddlers, but they were the younger children, basically from like anywhere from 2 to 7, and I have it on video, but these kids were just so full of life, despite some of the challenges that they may have had. You know, very bright, smart children. You know, they were in school. They were allowed to come out of school for like an hour or so to, you know, interact with us and play with us. And as soon as, you know, they were let out, they just ran to us and hugged us and were all over us. And, you know, I'm not as sore as I thought I would be. Well, maybe a little bit from weightlifting 7-year-olds, you know, hanging from my arms, and I'm trying to film. Like, they were just amazing, beautiful, beautiful children, just full of personality, just like, and it's sad that they have to be in the situations that they're in because they're so innocent. And a lesson in it for me is like, I'm very fortunate and blessed to have the things that I have currently and had growing up, you know what I mean? So why complain? Like, these children were all smiles, full of energy, full of love, full of care, in spite of the circumstances that they were in. Many of them have probably been in their home their whole life, abandoned by their mothers, you know, unwanted by their mothers. Some of them had, you know, in all the rooms and spaces that we visited, several of the children had a lot of disabilities and illnesses ranging from cerebral palsy, you know, autism, and just a whole range of other things. And they were very well cared for. Like, the staff was very, you could tell they cared for the children and they really loved what they do. Some of them were live-on, some of them were social workers who came like from, you know, 8 to 5 or 6 to 6 or whatever their work day is. So that was really good to see. But the kids, like, I really, really enjoy interacting with them. Like, I have a whole, probably about a good 20, 30 minutes of footage just of the kids playing around with us and, you know, singing songs with us. They love the camera. Like, I flip the camera around so they can see themselves. So the footage is a little all over the place because I just wanted them to enjoy and, you know, see themselves on camera. So a couple of them love the camera. So a few of them are on the camera a lot. Some of the babies that really stuck out to me that, you know, were with me pretty much the whole time I was there. Like, you know, the children found the ones that they wanted, you know, that they ran to, and they stuck to them like the whole time. You know, they went around and interacted with the other people there, but, you know, they always found their way back to the one that they really liked. And a couple of the ones that come to my mind was the first boy that ran up to, his name was Kofi. He loved the camera. He, you know, he was a little precocious, a little, you know, mischievous, but like, he was just, you know, full of life and all up on me, all in the camera. Then there's Michael. He's in the camera a lot. He's going to be somebody's entertainer somewhere, doing something, dancing, acting, but he loved the camera. And then his fighter of a sister, who was like, Michael's like 6 or 7, and his little sister, Blessing. She walked up to me with my camera singing ABCs, but she is a fighter and very possessive. She didn't want me holding anyone else. She didn't want me picking up anyone else. If I did, no matter where she was at, she would cry. I picked her up and another little boy up at the same time. They were around the same age, and I thought I heard her when I picked him up, you know, trying to pick him up at the same time. But she was crying for the very simple fact that I had another baby in my arm. So when I finally got him situated, she hauled off and punched the other little boy in the head. And like, she just was just a fighter. Just, you know, she had this pillow and people kept, you know, the older boys kept taking her pillow, and she was fighting the older boy. She was like 2 or 3 and these little boys were like, you know, 5 and 6, and she had no problem, you know, fighting them and fighting them off. There was another baby named Felicia. She was dumb and couldn't talk, but full of life, very bright, very, you know, energetic and walking around, interacting with people. And I can't remember the young lady that she helped another teacher interact with Felicia, you know, letting her know that she couldn't talk, and was very nurturing and caring. Like, you definitely saw that with the younger children, the older children and the younger children. And then there was, you know, a girl named Martha and Abigail, beautiful, beautiful children, just really full of life. Another one, his name was Joseph. He was definitely the protector and the peacemaker. You know, kids get into it and argue and fight, just being kids. And to us, we're like, no fighting, but the workers just sitting there looking, and if they needed to intervene, they said what they need to say and it stopped. But, you know, kids being kids. But Joseph was very much the peacemaker. If, you know, he seen one of the older children picking on the younger child, he would intervene and step in. Like, when the little boy was taking Blessing pillow, you know, he went and was like, you know, chill out, give me the pillow, and gave it back to her. Just very, very mature. You can tell that's his role in the community. He's one of the older children. So it was just definitely a wonderful experience, very emotional experience, you know. I had my moment. If I would have recorded this right after, I probably would have cried, but it was just definitely a good experience. After we left there, we went to eat at this really nice restaurant. The decor was really, really nice. And after we ate, we went to the University of Ghana, huge campus, and we were able to have dance lessons and drum lessons. Half of us did dance and half of us did drumming. I did drumming. I have a newfound respect for drummers. You know, having a whole, especially those real authentic wooden drums and then hitting the drum, like, my hands are sore. But it was a good, fun, like, liberating experience, just being around family. And that's what it felt like. You're just this family, like, I'm around my people, like I'm home, you feel me? We did that and then came back and had a debriefing session, and it was kind of good to hear the experiences of the other groups that went to the other schools, like the New Horizon school. Like, I guess they were able to go and see like a dedication of a bus that had been donated to the school by some American missionaries, I believe, or an American organization who donated a van for them to kind of transport children and stuff like that. That was a private facility, so they had a little bit more money and flexibility in how they were ran. The other place was the Juvenile Correctional Facility. And unlike the facilities in the States that use the term correctional, like, they really sought out and seek, their goal and mission is really to correct the behavior and make the juveniles in that facility more productive citizens of the city that they live in, their community, and of the country. No matter what the crime range is, they're only there for a year. I mean, they went anywhere from theft and robbery to murder, but the way they see it is, if, you know,